All right. So, for some reason, your AK looks like this. Maybe your pin fell out. Pins fell out. You never know. Okay? Maybe your shepherd hook came undone. You lifted the safety, and now this is loose. All right. So what you're going to have to do, first of all, get your internal components out. One way or another. It should be pretty straightforward. There's your trigger, your sear, and here's your hammer. Your hammer spring. Now, the way that you're going to want to keep this, there is a hook that is turned like that into the spring. That's going to hold tension. That is the face of your hammer. If it's like this, then you're not doing it right. For some reason, it's flipped the other way around, which is possible. It needs to be in that crevice, or else you're going to screw your thing up, and you're going to do a bunch of work, and you're going to regret everything, and you're going to want to fucking sell the gun. Alright, so whenever you get to this point, I personally, I would clean this out if I were you. It gets kind of dirty over time if you just got the gun, or bought it new, or you screwed up. It's whatever. But what gets me every time is this pin for your hammer. And by the way, both pins are interchangeable. You probably buy these online if you need to, if you lost one. But this hammer will not go all the way in. It'll get stuck right here. And a little bit of, just enough is out to where that notch where your shepherd's pin falls into is actually like this. And that's not good. Or it's like this. That's just gonna eventually walk itself out. What you need to do is make sure that this is all the way in. That's what happened to me, at least. So you have both your pins, you have your hammer, and the correct orientation in that little pocket. And then you have your trigger, as well as your safety and shepherd's hook. I don't know if I already said that. But what goes in first is your hammer. So you're going to want to keep this like that. With tension against it, it's going to be, the front is going to be in the front, and the springs are going to be in the rear, like this. It's going to go in the gun exactly like that. So the best way to do this, I can do this one-handed, is to pinch them, push it in, and get right before you get to your rails right here. And then just drop it in. You might have to compress your springs together. You might have to rotate it a little bit. You're gonna get it in there. And one of the common problems with this, these will get stuck behind your pistol grip screw holder where it threads in. So what you might have to do is take a little screwdriver and just pick those up so it's out of your way. And just push it forward. And you're going to have to keep that tension on there. Your hammer might get underneath here like I just did. So just make sure that is out of the way. And you might have to play with it a little bit before you can actually get it correct. This is a Romanian wasr tin, so it might be a little different for different guns, but I don't really see why it would be. They're built very similar. So I needed 2 hands to get this back to where it needed to be. But this hole right here is going to line up with that hole there. And like I said, that pin might stick out a little bit. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to hold tension here, and you can drop that pin in there. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So once you get to this point, it's going to be a pain in the ass, and you're going to have to look. You're going to have to look at it like this. Fuck. So you're going to want to line it up with this other hole on the side, which is going to be a pain in the ass doing one hand. So just give me 1 second. So it's in there now, and as you can see, it's flush. There's nothing poking out or anything. That's exactly what you want. It's just gonna set right here on this bar. Make sure that this is poking through. If it's like indented like that, it needs to be poking all the way through. Same way that it'll be over here. This side's a little easier. You see these two hooks right here. You're gonna move these out of the way. They might get stuck here in the trigger guard. You just kind of push them up and out. I like to use my little screwdriver because it makes me feel special inside. But you might need to move shit around and try and wiggle with it and do your best to try and get these things back in order. So I was about to give really bad advice and tell you to put this in and then the pins first. But you do want to put that in first. But you want to put these above that to where it's hooked in like that. That's what actually keeps tension on your sear as well as your hammer. So, okay. You might have to snap it in place like that, but you just need both of those there. That should line it up pretty well. Should be like right in line with that. If not, you can move your trigger around a little bit. But that should slide in pretty decent. You shouldn't have to do much work to do that. This side right here is way more difficult than this side, in this man's humble opinion. Okay, next, your shepherd's hook. This part is, it can be very difficult because this has to line up with that hole, and it sits off to the side like that. So basically what you need to do here, there are two notches, like I said, on those pins, and this needs to lay on those two pins. And don't put it under. The first time I ever did this, I tried to put it underneath here. Don't do that. It just sits right up against this wall, right up against the pins, and it lays flat. I got confused because this right here didn't line up correctly. What you need to do is put your safety selector back in through here and actually grab that shepherd's hook right there. Okay, and it's going to be a real pain in the ass, and you're going to have to it's going to turn upside down here for a minute. This is the best I can. So you're going to want to push towards this with something. It can be a real big pain to try and get everything situated the way that it needs to, because it has to go in there or else your pins are going to fall out again. But you just push the safety selector into position with something, anything. It could be a rock, it could be a screwdriver like I'm using, or a professional, whatever the hell. But it needs to go in that little hole like that. Okay, so now it's in that hole, and then what you do is you drop the safety selector down to fire. Okay, now your shit works. Should work. Everything should work correctly. Sear. Okay, just like that. And sorry for going upside down there. For anybody who's on a desktop right now, I would recommend viewing this video on a phone so you can, but it's the best I have. And I'm trying to make a video on this because when I tried to get it, I don't know if it's probably been a year or so since I've tried, but it was a pain in the ass to try and find a video, and then it was a pain in the ass to figure out what the hell was going on with my rifle. Okay, and then you just put it together like your rifle would, you know, with your bolt. Sometimes rifle doesn't like to communicate with the rails, and then you're sitting there like a fucking virgin, like trying to figure out which hole you put it in. It's retarded. But There we go. Now your AK is put back together, whatever you have, and you're ready to fire again. I don't recommend doing it again. Try not to lift this up. If your pins come undone, just get the aftermarket piece. Don't be like me. I'm cheap, and I like everything original. But I hope that you enjoy this video. I appreciate y'all's viewing. If this was helpful, please leave a like, subscribe, do something like that to help. I don't know. I don't make money off this shit, so. But have a good one.